Here's what happened to every #1 NBA team since the year 2000, aka the NBA team with the best regular season record. 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers, they went 67-15, that's an 81.7% win percentage. This team went on to win the title as well when they beat the first seeded Pacers of the East, who went 56-26, which is a 68.3% win percentage. Shaq also won regular season MVP and finals MVP in this season. 2001 San Antonio Spurs, they went 58-24, that's a 70.7% win percentage. This team actually got swept by the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. The league MVP went to the #1 seed of the East, which was the 76ers and Allen Iverson, who went 56-26, but that team lost to the Lakers in 5. The Los Angeles Lakers were the champions this season. 2001-02 Sacramento Kings, they went 61-21, that's a 74% win percentage. The Kings were the best team in the NBA, and it really seemed like this was their year. However, in a controversial conference finals, they got beat by the Lakers in a tough 7 games. Some people believe that this series was rigged. Rigged might be too strong of a word. Of course, the officiating could have definitely been better. There totally were bad calls that changed the course of some of the games. But on the flip side, if you were to be critically honest, Shaq only got 1 free throw in Game 5, and there were 2 very winnable games beforehand that the Kings simply choked, that being Games 4 and 2. That's not to say that the referees absolutely did a terrible job officiating the series, but there is a difference between purposely rigged and refereeing prime Shaq being an enigma. Back to the topic at hand, the Kings also did not have an MVP on the roster this season. That went to Tim Duncan, despite the Spurs being second in the West. 2002-03 San Antonio Spurs, they went 60-22, that's a 73.2% win percentage. The Spurs ended up winning it all this year after they beat the Nets in 6 games. The Nets were second in the East, by the way, and the MVP of this season was Tim Duncan, who went back-to-back in MVPs. 2003-04 the Indiana Pacers, they went 61-21, which is a 74.4% win percentage. Things were great during the regular season. However, in the postseason, they ran into a defensive nightmare, that being the 04 Pistons. When they faced off in the Eastern Conference Finals, they lost to them in 6 games. The Pistons were such a problem, even the Lakers could not beat them, as they became the 2004 champions. The 2004 MVP was Kevin Garnett of the Timberwolves. The Wolves were #1 in the West, but they got beat in the conference finals in 6 games. 2004-05 the Phoenix Suns had the best record in the NBA, going 62-20, which is a win percentage of 75.6%. The Suns, however, were no match for the veteran Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, who beat them in 5 games. The Spurs ended up winning it all that year as they beat the Pistons in 7. The 2005 MVP, though, was Steve Nash, so the Suns had something to celebrate that year during the regular season. 2005-06 the Pistons, they went 64-18, that's a 78% win percentage. They made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but lost to the Heat in 6 games. The Miami Heat then went on to beat the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games in that 06 Finals. The 2006 MVP was Steve Nash again. However, many people believe that award should have gone to Kobe, who averaged an insane 35.4 points per game, which is great in any era, but super special for the early 2000s. 2006-07 the Dallas Mavericks, they went 67-15, that's an 81.7% win percentage. Winning over 80% of your regular season games is a really big deal. At that point, it hasn't happened since the year 2000 with Kobe and prime Shaq, so this was a big deal for the Mavs. Dirk Nowitzki even won MVP that season. A lot of great things were going smooth for Dallas up until they weren't, because right in the first round of that playoffs, the Mavs got upset by an 8th seeded Golden State team who wouldn't just give up as they beat the Mavs in 6 games. The Spurs, however, ended up winning it all that season as they swept the Cavaliers 4-0. 2007-08 the Boston Celtics, they went 66-16, that's an 80.5% win percentage. KG's defense really took the Celtics to a new level, helping this team have the biggest single season turnaround in NBA history, improving the record by 42 wins from 2006-07 with 24 wins, in 07-08 with 66 total wins. From the 15th seed all the way to the 1st seed in just 1 season. They even won a title this year by beating the Lakers in 6 games. They even beat the regular season MVP of this season, which was Kobe Bryant. 2008-09 the Cleveland Cavaliers, they went 66-16, which is an 80.5% win percentage. This was LeBron's first MVP season and the first time in franchise history the Cavaliers even went number 1 in the Eastern Conference, let alone the entire NBA. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Orlando Magic in 6 games. The Magic went on to lose to the Lakers in 5. The Lakers became the 2009 NBA champions. 2009-2010, the Cleveland Cavaliers, again, they went 61-21, which is a 74.4% win percentage. This was LeBron's second MVP season, the second time in franchise history the Cavaliers finished first in the NBA, and yet they still fell short in the postseason. They lost to the Celtics in the second round in 6 games. This prompted LeBron to take his talents to South Beach 1 season later. The Lakers ended up beating the Celtics in the finals that year in 7 games, making Kobe Bryant a back-to-back champion. Rest in peace to the Mamba. 2010-11, the Chicago Bulls, they went 62-20, that's a 75.6% win percentage. Before this season, the last time the Bulls were number 1 in the NBA was all the way back in 1998 when Michael Jordan was still on the roster. A new era began with prime Derrick Rose, as he was also the 2011 MVP, the youngest MVP in NBA history, winning it at age 22. The regular season belonged to the Bulls, but the postseason did not. The Bulls lost to the Heat in 5 games during the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat went on to choke in the finals though, losing to the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games, and the Mavs became the 2011 champions. 2011-12, both the Bulls and Spurs went 50-16, which is a win percentage of 75.8%. However, the Bulls had a better conference record of 38-10 to the Spurs 35-13, so they technically win the tiebreaker. Neither the Bulls nor Spurs made the finals this year. The Bulls, however, had the worst timeline this year as Derrick Rose suffered a season-ending injury in the first round, which altered the course of NBA history forever, as the Bulls ended up losing that first round in 6 games. The Spurs lost in 6 to the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. The Heat ended up winning the finals this year in 5 games, and LeBron was the 2012 regular season MVP and finals MVP. 2012-2013, the Miami Heat, they went 66-16, which is an 80.5% win percentage. LeBron wins his 4th regular season MVP, his 2nd ring, and the Heat win their 3rd franchise ring. Yes, this was the finals where many believe that Ray Allen saved LeBron's legacy by hitting that insane 3-pointer in the 4th quarter of Game 6 against the Spurs. The Heat, however, did end up winning that series in 7. 2013-14, the San Antonio Spurs were the number 1 team in the NBA this season. They went 62-20, which is a 75.6% win percentage. This was the Spurs' revenge season. They knew they had what it takes to win it all in last year's finals, but couldn't get the job done, so they spent the entire season this season to make sure they sealed the deal. And not only did they seal the deal this season, they beat the Heat by a record margin in just 5 games. The 2014 MVP, however, was Kevin Durant of the Thunder. 2014-15, the Golden State Warriors, they went 67-15, which is an 81.7% win percentage. They went on to beat the 2nd-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals, and Steph Curry won his first regular season MVP, but the finals MVP of that finals went to Andre Iguodala. 2015-16, the Golden State Warriors, they went 73-9, the best regular season team in NBA history. That's an 89% win percentage. Steph Curry became the first unanimous MVP in NBA history as well this season. So what happened to this team? Well, unless you live under a rock, I'm sure you know. They lost to a 57-win Cavalier team in the finals, but not only did they lose, they choked a 3-1 series lead in that NBA Finals. 2016-17, the Warriors again, but this time Kevin Durant joined the super team, making it a super mega team. The Warriors went 67-15, that's an 81.7% win percentage. Russell Westbrook of the OKC Thunder became regular season MVP this season, which is the team that Kevin Durant left. The Warriors went on to win the championship, beating the Cavaliers in 5 games. 2017-18, the Houston Rockets, they went 65-17, that's a 79.3% win percentage. James Harden went on to win MVP this season, but the Rockets in the playoffs were a bit of a heartbreak. They lost to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals in a tough 7 games, but many concluded that this was due to Chris Paul's injury. Regardless, the Warriors won the finals by sweeping the Cavaliers in 4 games this season. 2018-19, the Milwaukee Bucks, they went 60-22, that's a 73.2% win percentage. Giannis Antetokounmpo did end up winning his first regular season MVP, but the same cannot be said for finals MVP, at least not yet. This is because the Bucks lost in the conference finals in 6 games to Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors. This was truly the Raptors' one-and-done season, as they went on to win the finals as well, beating the Golden State Warriors. 2019-2020, the Milwaukee Bucks, again, they went 56-17, that's a 76.7% win percentage. Giannis also goes back-to-back, winning regular season MVP again this year, and just like last year, the same cannot be said for finals MVP. The Bucks got absolutely swamped in the second round to the Heat in 5 games. This was the bubble though, so the number 1 seed in the West, the Los Angeles Lakers, did end up winning it all this year. 2020-2021, the Utah Utah Jazz, they went 52-20. That's a 72.2% win percentage. It's been decades since the Jazz were top of their conference, and yet again, they did not fully seize the moment. Not only did they not win regular season MVP this year, they didn't even touch the finals. They got bounced in the second round to the Clippers in 6 games. The regular season MVP for this season was Nikola Jokic, but it was the Milwaukee Bucks who ended up going all the way, and Giannis won finals MVP this season. 2021-22, the Phoenix Suns, they went 64-18. That's a 78% win percentage. The Suns were as high as the sun during their regular season, but like the Jazz of last season, they did not capture MVP nor the title at all. The regular season MVP went to the Joker yet again, and the finals MVP went to Steph Curry as the Warriors beat the Celtics in 6 games. The Suns got absolutely owned by the Mavericks in the second round in 7 games. 2022-23, the Milwaukee Bucks, they went 58-24. That's a 70.7% win percentage. The Bucks were back on top in regards to regular season wins, but this did not translate to a regular season MVP nor a title. The MVP went to Joel Embiid, and the title went to the Nuggets, who beat the Heat in 5, and Nikola Jokic got finals MVP. The Bucks totally blew it in the first round by losing to the Heat in 5 games, though you could blame this loss to injury. As for this current 2023-24 season, the season is still ongoing, and at the time of this recording, the number 1 team is the Celtics. Will Jason Tatum win MVP or finals MVP? Or will another team follow suit? Only time will tell. In summary though, in the last 20 seasons, the number 1 regular season team among both conferences ended up winning the title just 7 times. As for winning regular season MVP, this happened to the number 1 team 13 times, so there was more consistency in that regards. For all events to happen in the same season, that's going number 1, having an MVP on your roster, and winning a title, that happened just 4 times. To put how rare that is into perspective, the number 1 team in the NBA choked the first round in the playoffs 3 times within this time frame. So here is what happened to every number 1 NBA team since the year 2000. Let me know if you want to see me do this for other decades. Don't forget to dunk on that like button and subscribe with notifications turned on. I'm Rebound Rewind, and I'll fast forward to you later.